Welcome aboard.
We met up with Bryce and Sunshine Coast Tours and took a less than 2-hour boat ride up to the Princess Louisa Inlet. And I think it was about 30 miles, so you're pretty far out there as far as boating goes. But the whole way out there are giant cliff walls, waterfalls kind of sneaking out among the trees or along the rock walls. So this whole way from Egmont on, you're seeing these giant cliff walls, and then you see these tiny little waterfalls because the cliffs are so big you can't really even grasp the size of the waterfalls even until you get closer. Some of them are pretty small, but there are definitely some really huge cascading from the top of the mountain over 5,000 feet. So it's just, they're everywhere. You don't see them, and then you start to look closely in the mountains and they're there and they're there and they're there. So it's really cool. And then you get to the Princess Louisa Inlet, and you get in just a few more miles, and this beautiful cascading waterfall down the mountain. I think the drop is called Chatterbox Falls. It's like maybe 100 feet tall, pretty little hiking trails. The mist is coming off the falls, and the water inside the inlet was glass. I mean, it was beautiful with the little peeping heads of the seals as we're either boating or I'm paddling along. It was definitely one of the most beautiful places I've been.
So while in the Sechelt area, we actually went down to Davis Bay and we went paddleboarding with Alpha Adventures.
In the summertime, we specialize in stand-up paddleboarding and kayaking, and we're one of the few companies that actually guides all over the Sunshine Coast, literally from Langdale all the way up to Egmont. On the Sunshine Coast, we're really fortunate that we have a really wide variety of bodies of water, so anything from big open bays, cute little coves, big expanses of shoreline. We have lakes, so we're very fortunate that way, and we're lucky to take people from all over the world to explore those places. So we're in Davis Bay, which is one of the more iconic or easily reached bodies of water on the Sunshine Coast. It's great for basically everybody to come and enjoy the water. So whether you're coming to the beach to build sandcastles, you're coming to go stand-up paddleboarding, you'd like to go kayaking, to go crabbing, really anything, Davis Bay is a very, very popular spot.
Alpha Adventures has these awesome lights. I think they're made by a company called Naqua, and you can attach them to the paddleboards. So that's what we did. We actually attached the lights, hung out right before dusk. It was also something to do in the evening time of day. It lights up the ocean below, and you can see little fish swimming around, and we got to paddle around and under these piers that have birds and fish under the water. It was a perfect place to paddle.
We often see just giant congregations of salmon underneath our board at night, which is really, really quite cool. And again, a unique experience that not the average person is going to see. Very few people would actually see because of where we are and when we are going out.
You know, as the sun goes down on the Sunshine Coast, the sun's setting in the west, being able to go paddling kind of in the midst of the sun setting in this glowing part of the day, and then the Naqua lights glowing in the water, it really made this transition of just extending all that fun you have during the day and extending it into the night. So now we're paddling out there on the water, we're seeing fish swim under the boards, and we're just extending our fun that much longer. And so we stayed out there pretty late. I think it was about 10 to 11 o'clock before we actually finished up.
What's really cool about the Sunshine Coast and paddling is that there are so many different ways to enjoy the water. You can kayak, you can stand up paddle, you can do the canoe trip, you can take a motorboat tour. I mean, there's so many far-reaching places, but there's also so many right across the channel locations that are just as cool. So you've got this whole coastline of all these different unique spots, and each one is just exceptionally beautiful. And each one has something just a little bit different to offer, even though it's all kind of close together.
It's great for everything from surfing a sea kayak if you're an experienced paddler to surfing a little whitewater kayak and a surf kayak. And, you know, most important, it's good for surfing the stand-up paddleboards.